Hey there, horror movie tea sippers.
The following podcast episode will contain spoilers for the movie we are about to review. If you have not seen the movie and do not wish to have anything ruined prematurely, please do not continue to watch or listen until you have seen the movie.
And welcome to the Horror Movie Tea Podcast. Today, we are covering Blink Twice. But before we go into the review, let's grab our cups and talk about tea. So, I am drinking the Republic of Tea Thinking of You tea. It's pretty simple. It's got peppermint, chamomile, orange peel, and a creamy French vanilla flavor and wintergreen flavor. But a very soothing, comforting tea.
And I am drinking Republic of Tea Stress Less Wintermint tea. And it has organic peppermint, natural lemon extract, organic lemon peel, organic spearmint, organic lemon balm, organic licorice, KSM-66 ashwagandha root extract. I don't know why that's what it says. That's what it says.
I believe you. I see it.
Lemon juice, lemon verbena, and organic wintergreen flavor. Apparently, KSM-66 is a registered trademark of Ixorial Biomed Inc.
Okay.
That's why.
All right. And we are also using podcast mugs.
Yes.
And sorry for the thunder in the background if you can hear it.
It's just the ambiance.
Spooky. So I'm using my Please Don't Kill Me mug, which is an inside joke that happened where I got in trouble with Jess. And I was afraid for my life.
There is a sister mug on there that is I'm Going to Kill You at Some Point. Those are both available on our Teespring. And so is this one.
This one's my favorite, honestly.
Tea first, then screams.
Like, you did such a good job designing it. Like, I love it.
I appreciate it. It was fun to do. I'm glad it turned out so well.
Yep. But as always, thank you to the Republic of Tea for allowing us to continue to do what we love. And for our spoopy tea sippers out there, brew yourself a cup of tea, sit back, relax, and we hope you enjoy the review. So for the summary of Blink Twice. So a waitress for a catering service, along with her friend who also is a waitress, dresses up as guests for an event, and they get invited by the CEO there to his private island. And, you know, it's a dream come true, all of that good stuff, but things are not as they appear. So for entertainment, I didn't know what to expect from this movie, and as I was watching it, I just let it take me through the journey.
And it was a journey.
Yeah, and so it's like in the beginning, I was kind of getting like Get Out vibes.
A little.
Where it's like things weren't as they appear, and I'm like, what is the mystery here?
I got like a cross between Get Out and Stepford Wives.
I haven't seen that.
Okay. For those of you that have, that's kind of the vibes I was getting.
What
was that other movie? Never mind. Okay. It'll come to me later.
But like this movie, at least for me, it had me engaged from the start. And then I just got more and more invested. So I give it a 7.75 for me. Like, it's a good movie, and it has the type of, and it's an uncomfortable movie, and it's really terrible at some points. Because, we should probably give a trigger warning.
We definitely need a trigger warning
for sexual assault.
Yes.
And
continued abuse.
Yeah.
And manipulation.
So, but
it will definitely make some people uncomfy.
Yeah, like I was kind of shocked at some of the things that they showed, but I think it's because they just heavily implied it. I mean, they show it, but they don't actually show it.
Yeah,
you know?
Thankfully.
Yeah.
I appreciated that, honestly.
Yeah, but it's like, what they show and what they imply is just graphic enough that
There's no
icky.
question. There's no question what's going on. You know what is happening.
Yeah. But it's like I felt really engaged with the characters. I liked all of the characters. There were some, honestly, it was more the main characters I felt like were less likable, but especially when you know or learn what they've been doing, you're like, okay, that's why. But like some of the female characters, like the one that was like the survivor chick,
I love the survivor chick.
Well, it's like at first I didn't like her. I'm like, man, she's really a bitch.
Yeah, she came across as catty at
but
first.
She
does.
Yeah.
She really does.
Yeah.
And she became the main character's biggest ally.
Yeah. And I will say that the two other girls that like took a lot of drugs and drank a lot, I felt like they were fairly forgettable. They were like the party girls, and they're more stereotypes than actual like unique characters to me. But it's kind of like one of those things where I feel like the amount of it made it feel bigger though, having more people involved.
Yes.
So I'm not mad that they did that, and it kind of like shifts your focus on
I do feel like they could have fleshed out those two characters a little bit more, because I honestly couldn't even tell you their names.
Yeah.
They were rather forgettable, unfortunately.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, especially whenever it's like, to be fair, I am a big sucker for like character development and story and stuff like that. But I will say, especially since the story is coming from the one character's perspective, at least to me, she probably thought that they themselves were really forgettable.
Yeah.
And so if we're thinking of it from her perspective, she's not going to know or remember every intricate detail about them. And so I'm not mad that they set it up that way.
Yeah, that's fair. The movie itself, a lot of the scenes kind of blur together, and I feel like that was intentional. Because they kept asking, what day is it?
Yeah.
And nobody knew. So it's like the whole timeline feels like it was getting blurred together, and it was just one big chunk here.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was very well done and very intentional.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, I really like, so it's as horrific as a movie as it is, it also has a level of comedy. Like the ongoing joke with the red chair. That I was like, come on,
it's in a wrong place. This is what are we gonna do with you?
It kind of
where should we
they
put
did
you?
It long enough where like it started off funny, and then you're like, okay, really, we're still bringing this up, and then it came back around and started being funny again. Like especially towards the end.
Yes, he's like, that's a good place for you.
Yeah. And then I like whenever they're doing the snake venom to help them regain their memories, and they're like, shots, bitches.
I mean, how are you going to get two party girls to willingly ingest snake venom?
Yeah.
It's kind of the obvious choice.
And then it's like as horrific as this movie is, to me, what additionally makes it like so high and a movie that I'm okay going back and rewatching again is the fact that it has such a satisfying end, and then the twist of her controlling him at the end. I thought that was really interesting.
That part honestly had me shook. I was not expecting that at all.
Yeah, I was thinking he should just escape.
Yeah. Or have him prosecuted. Or something, but I was not expecting her to just turn the tables completely like that.
Yeah, and so she got what she wanted.
What?
Yeah, like, oh, man.
And how hard would that have been? Because he was clearly, like, the main one assaulting her.
Yeah.
So, for her to then marry him and turn the tables and take his company for her own and all that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, well, that's like the ultimate revenge because you
Wow.
learn like later down the movie that she had been there before.
Yes.
And she had forgotten.
This was not the first time for her.
Yeah. Yeah, so at that point, it's like, you want to play that
It's a
game?
lot
I'll play
of
a
heavy
game.
stuff in this movie for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
And just, I don't know about you, but I got super uncomfy when he's like, I'm not going to kill you. You're like my best friend. Yeah. I beg your finest pardon, sir.
Well, and then how, like
Thanks for not
ruthless
killing me,
and-
but at the same time, like,
Yeah, yeah. It's like, what's worse? Like,
Yeah, I don't know if that makes it better, sir.
it doesn't. In a lot of ways, it makes it worse.
A little
it's like
bit.
how ruthless and like easy they could kill the other girls.
Oh,
was
yeah.
really scary.
He didn't even think twice about those other girls.
Which makes me wonder how many times they've had to kill people before.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they are not
There was
new to
zero
this.
hesitation. There was no thought about it.
Yeah.
This other girl, her best friend that came with her on the island, killed her. No, she's remembering things.
Yeah. But I do like the whole, like, long storyline of the maid or the cleaner where she's like, Red Rabbit.
Clearly recognized her.
Yeah, and she's just like, Red Rabbit, Red Rabbit. And the main character is like, what? I don't get it.
Yeah.
And then at the end, it clicked that
Yes.
when she previously was there, it was on her nails because she liked to do animal designs. I do like how the movie kind of hints because she talks about it's like, oh, I do animal nails.
Yeah.
But it's like,
And
wow.
nail moles.
Yeah. it's like I feel like this movie, if you're very closely paying attention, you can kind of pick up on
yeah.
the clues, but it's not like shoved in your face like,
Yeah.
yeah. So
They don't spoon feed it to you
Yeah.
necessarily. But
it's a nice
yeah.
balance, I feel like.
It
Like,
is.
This
It
movie
really
did
is.
a really good job. So as uncomfortable as it is, just the way that they do it is just, I really enjoyed it. This is definitely in my top favorites of movies, and I am definitely going to watch it again. I would recommend it for those who aren't faint of heart or can...
You might
Yeah.
need a strong stomach for this kind of thing.
Well, I mean, not necessarily a strong stomach, but it's very rough.
It is.
Because, you know, like I said, it's about like
it's
assault
gonna make you uncomfy.
and non-consensual acts.
Yes.
And yeah.
So those that could be triggered by that, please do not put yourself in that situation. Because while they don't, again, show it, they show enough.
Yeah.
So, personally, I give it a 7.25. It made me just a little more uncomfy than I would have liked. So,
Yeah,
I knocked
it
it
did,
down
like,
just a
yeah.
little bit.
Yeah.
Also, a couple of things in the realism kind of took me out of it a bit because I love snakes. I do. So
Always so much. They can't have an
I
actual venom in
know.
this thing. And would you rather
I'm
a real
aware
snake
of that.
or a CG snake?
there's a fine line there, but also they could have chosen a less common constrictor snake instead of like the widely, you can find them literally anywhere. Albino boa. Like,
We're talking about the realism.
I know. I'm sorry, but it does affect the entertainment scale for me a little bit. And we'll get into it more later, but yeah. It's just the characters the main character Frida and her friend kind of make a couple of bad choices. I can see why they would make them. They just want to let their hair down and have some fun for once. Obviously, they're kind of struggling. They're living paycheck to paycheck. It's been a little bit of a rough go, so they just want a moment of fun. before they have to go back to their life and struggling. I get it. Completely relatable. But at the same time, there are just times when they put themselves in situations that you're like, why would you do this?
Yeah, I have.
This is not safe.
Stuff in the realism to say.
Oh, yeah. So that, and there are times when it feels almost like movies got a movie moments, because I feel like most women would be like, excuse you, I have a problem with this.
Yeah.
But they're just like, nah, this is fine. Let's go ahead with this. This is fine.
Yeah, they definitely accepted things.
They really
a
do.
lot
They
longer
don't
than they
question
should've.
things as much as they should have, I feel like. But, like different weird interactions, things they're noticing and all, and they don't necessarily question it. They're just like, that's weird. And they move on. Like, maybe you should pay attention to it. I do like some of the twists and turns that they have here. A lot of the characters kind of blend together. A lot of the guys blend together. They're so surface level and bland for most of the guys, which probably intentional as well.
Yeah, like I feel like it's supposed to be like an overarching, like, this is the theme or story we're trying to tell, or like morals, or
this is like the generic guy kind of thing.
Yeah.
So like this could be any guy.
Yeah.
Which I get. They're trying
But it's
to
kind
make
of hard
a
to
point.
do that because he's a freaking CEO. Like,
Well, that one. I'm talking about the other ones.
I know.
Like,
but
he's like the one.
situation,
He's like the one guy that really stands
the
out.
ringleader.
Yes, but he's also the main guy. And like you said, if they're telling it from Frida's point of view, that makes sense. She was the
'cause
closest to him.
Yeah.
She was talking to him the most. The others are kind of background characters, and they feel like it.
Yeah.
So they all have their own little things. There's one guy that's always taking Polaroids, which, why? There's another guy that is hardcore into cooking. I don't know if he's an actual chef or that's just his thing, but that's who he is. The other two, I can't really tell you anything about them. I remembered one guy only because I've seen him in some other stuff.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
And I couldn't really tell you anything about the other dude. The blonde dude.
Yeah.
I don't know. The one that apparently did nothing.
Yeah.
Which is also a problem.
Right. Yeah.
But, which they
bring
address.
up. Yeah.
Which I appreciate as well.
Yeah.
It is kind of a bummer that the other two girls died, even though I don't really remember much about them other than they're party girls. And one really, really liked to smoke weed a lot. That's about all I can tell you. But I'm not super upset about it because we didn't really know much about them.
Well, and notice too that the more forgettable characters are also the ones that died.
Yeah.
I feel like the friend, she was a little bit more like recognizable because we saw more of her and we saw her personality, but she still wasn't as stand-outish as the character as like the main character.
Well, she kind of got shoved to the background once they got on the island.
Yeah.
Like more and more. Like we saw her a lot even in the beginning when they got on the island, but as they were spending more time there, she slowly faded more into the background. Yeah. And the CEO guy, Slater, was kind of like singling Frida out.
Yeah.
And it became more about those two than anyone else. Yeah. I do wish we had seen what happened with Survivor Chick after the whole thing. Because, I mean, I didn't really look super hard at the gala at the very end. She could have been at one of the tables. I don't know.
I didn't see her.
But we didn't hear what happened to her after.
Yeah.
And I would have liked to, because I would want to know if they had a falling out because Frida decided to turn the tables on Slater and stay with him but take his company, or if they're still friends and Survivor Chick approves and is like, go girl, do it, and like encouraging her and being like the devil on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Or if it was, again, just like they had a falling out because it's too much for her. Like, it's a step too far for her.
Yeah.
Because they're on the beach. That she's like, I hope you know what you're doing. And then walks off.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really tell us. That's vague. And it's like immediately after everything, when everything's still raw.
Yeah.
So I would like to have known what happened to the two of them after. Like, their relationship after.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's a very interesting plot. It's entertaining. Again, the ending had me a bit shook. I like some of the twists and turns in it, but it did make me a little bit uncomfy. So, but it is a good commentary too on a lot of things going on today.
Yep. Yep.
So, what do you think about his tantrum? He like turned into a toddler at one point.
Yeah.
With the I'm sorry over and over and over and over and over again. That struck me as toddler.
It made me think of a certain person that I'm not going to say out loud, but someone who's also super rich.
Uh-huh.
And I believe a CEO. Yeah.
Yeah.
CEO. Yeah, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So realism.
We're trying not to get too political.
But we're women and we have opinions.
Yes.
But anyways, if things affect us and the people we love, we gotta.
Oh, we're saying something.
Yeah, but yeah. Okay, so for realism, so I'll walk you through my reasoning before I give the actual rating. So first, we did look up the whole. Well, okay. Let me take you to the beginning of the movie. So first, it's so cool. Like, if I was in that position, it'd be so cool to be invited to a private island by a CEO. But that's like a huge red flag because first, as far as she remembers, he just met her that evening. And even if they connected...
No, so, hold on. She did remember meeting him at one point.
Okay.
And he said he liked her nails.
Okay.
Like, she was a waitress at one of his other functions, I think.
Okay.
They said that at the very, very beginning.
They still haven't had, like, an ongoing
but yeah, that's
relationship.
It was like a small interaction. She's like, you probably wouldn't even remember me.
Yeah. Yeah, I recall that now.
But still, that's...
Yeah, he's basically a stranger.
Yes.
And she's like, sure, let's do this.
I know nothing about him.
And then, like, her assuming that all the women... Like, they all knew each other and were friends without, like, asking or, like, you know, she just, like, assumed that she was the odd one out.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just, like, a lot of assumptions made.
Yeah.
And I will say it was surprising to me that the amnesia portion was caused by the perfume versus like they weren't really checking their drinks or anything. Mm-mm. I thought it would have been in the drinks.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought that was pretty clever.
Or honestly, I thought it was the drugs they were taking every night.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it was like the drops that they were having at the end of the night every night after dinner.
Yep. But so for the perfume, we did look it up to see if this is in the realm of possibility, and theoretically it's possible, but there's nothing that we have today that would really replicate what they did. Now, since memories and scent are really interlinked, it's like, you know, whenever you smell like an old cookie recipe and it makes you think of like, you know, cooking with your parents or, you know, it's like our memories and what we smell are very like interlinked. Mm-hmm. So it's actually possible for certain scents to help like trigger like emotional reactions or trigger like forgotten memories. But as far as what we currently have in our knowledge base, there's nothing that will make you forget certain memories. But theoretically, if what they're using in the perfume is psychoactive or like a neurotransmitter blocker or something along those lines, it's theoretically possible, but not right now.
Just from the sound of it, though, it sounds like it would be immediately active, not necessarily
Yeah, it's like
something that would affect you later in the day.
Yeah, because they're talking about how it was based off of trauma. Like, the more trauma they endured, then the easier it was for them to forget.
The more potent it was.
Yeah, the more potent it was. So, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, what prevents it or stops it, the snake venom, that I didn't really look up, but that I think could potentially also be in the theoretical realm of possibility, and maybe probably a little bit more in reality, because snake venom can affect you on a neurological level, and so if it's impacting like chemical in your brain or something like that, it could potentially like prevent like certain effects from happening, but still, like, I don't know for sure.
They would have to refine it. It wouldn't just be straight snake venom. That's not how it works.
Yeah. I would assume, like,
not
from
how
the drink,
it works.
From the drink that they did, I would assume that that's refined, but like the friend getting bit,
yeah,
that's
no.
like a different, yeah.
They were legit just milking the snakes, basically, or taking it straight from the venom sacs after they killed them.
They were...
Yes, it was straight snake venom. That's not how it works.
But all of that aside, I would say, like, the actual, like, once they realize what's going on, like, their plans I thought were really interesting. And for the most part, fairly well thought out and reasonable. The wounds, were pretty realistic.
Yeah.
And how messed up the guy can be. It's like one of the things where it's like, we've shown in history that not just men, but people in general, when they don't have to be, held accountable for certain acts, that they tend to go a little bit more extreme than they would in your average, typical society. So I personally give it a 3 on the realism. Like, there's parts of it that are definitely like, no way in hell. This is definitely creeping along like science fiction or like beyond like what we currently have. But on the other hand, there are certain aspects of it that I can see as definitely not just in the realm of possibility, but similar things have happened. So, yeah.
I give it a 2.5.
Okay, pretty close.
For all of that, but also for the boa constrictors and the lilies, which are common everywhere, and also boas are constrictors, not venomous snakes. There are other, like I said earlier, less common constrictors that they could have used that are not so easily recognizable. But sure. Let's just go back to the beginning, though. I can understand, again, wanting to skip out on work to let your hair down a bit. I think it would be way too risky to do at a party that you're supposed to be working at.
Yeah, that's just asking to be fired.
Yeah, kinda. But that's just me. I also put why. Why would you say yes to going to the island?
Yeah.
Not only does she not know him, but life continues on.
Right. It's like she has rent.
Yeah.
She has bills.
You kind of got to keep things running. So unless you want to come back to all your possessions being thrown out or sold and no place to go home to or anything. And it seemed like she didn't really have any family or anything. Like, it was just her and her friend. And that was it. Like,
yeah.
And you're both going to the island. I feel like that's a bit of a problem. And probably not the best idea. Also, if you're just leaving, skipping out, and not even finishing the shift or anything, you're probably going to be fired. So you're going to come back to no home, no job, nothing.
Yeah. Well, you know, one thing that I'm now thinking of is I wonder how long they've been friends or how long her friend has worked there with her.
Yeah.
Because...
Well, they were living together, too.
Yeah, so it's like, why wouldn't her friend have been there with her the last time? Like...
I don't know.
So...
Yeah. No telling.
Because it made it sound like it was something that they did somewhat regularly. As a...
I didn't get that impression, but I don't know.
I don't know.
Either way, it was kind of weird. Then they get to the island and they're like, all right, everybody, phone's in the bag.
Yeah, hell no. And they
Excuse
even
you?
gave them the choice. So my choice would be hell
absolutely
no.
not. Absolutely not.
Hell
I
no.
don't give a flying F. If there's no signal on the island, you are not taking my phone. You can pry it from my cold dead hands. Absolutely not.
Yeah, that was the second major
Yeah,
red flag
that was a
they chose to ignore.
red flag. That's absolutely not. Let me get back on the plane and go home. Bye.
Yeah.
It was nice to see everybody. Look at this beautiful place. You have a lovely island. You have fun. Bye.
Yeah.
Then there's the weird interaction with the lady that worked there, Red Rabbit.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she put the lip gloss in the drawer. Because I feel like she was trying to warn her the whole time. She couldn't really fully warn her because, I mean, she works there. She probably lives there, like... And he clearly does bad things on the island and doesn't care about killing people. So, you know, can't just outright say, hey, you might want to leave because they're going to do very, very bad things to you and your friend. But, and there's also, it seems like a bit of a language barrier.
Yeah, well, it's also like, you know, if she, like, language barrier aside, like, if she was able to completely communicate, hey, this is why you're in danger and all of this, she would probably, the main character would have been, like, gone to the CO and been like, you're
what is this about?
Yeah, they're saying something really weird.
Yeah.
And, yeah, that would have been life-threatening for her. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
So, but I feel like she was trying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any way she could. And she helped her out later on by giving her a swig of the snake venom.
Yeah.
So, coming in clutch there. Movie's got a movie moment with the boas not being venomous, but you know, clear signs of people forgetting things like the dirt under the fingernails, not knowing how it got there.
Yeah, they do.
I feel like you'd remember
clues.
with nails like that, getting dirt under them and all. But
yeah, I like the little clues sprinkled in.
Yes.
At the time, I just assumed it was probably the drugs.
Yeah, and I think that's probably what she assumed too, but when you see it that many times, like, there's something up there.
Yeah.
That's messed up. Again, that's not how snake venom works when the friend gets bit. That's not how snake venom works. And yes, you would need a hospital. You would need to see someone. Even if the venom isn't that potent, you would still need to see someone. At the very least, there's a risk of clotting. Which is actually how snake venom works. It, like, congeals the blood. And causes other issues. Like, go see someone.
Yeah, well, and then
they're
also,
like, you're fine. You'll be fine. You don't need to see anyone. Also, there's no hospital on the island.
Yeah, that was great. But, and then also, it's like another reason why it doesn't matter how dangerous or not the snake is everybody's immune system reacts to venom differently. So even if it's considered like a mild venom or whatever.
It doesn't matter.
Like, she may have an extreme reaction and die anyways.
Well, also, infection.
Yeah.
Risk of infection.
Yeah.
Go see a doctor.
Yeah, because it's probably been biting into rats and all sorts of...
all kinds of things. Birds.
Yeah.
All kinds of things. Snakes eat a lot. They're very good for the environment. I know some people don't like them, but cute little noodles, and they're very good for the environment. So, but they do eat a lot of things. So please go see a doctor. If you're bitten by any animal, really, I feel like you should, at the very least, call like a teledog service or something and get some antibiotics just in case. Like, clean the affected area, obviously.
I feel like the one bite that a lot of people probably don't go is maybe like a spider bite. Because I hear people all the time like, oh, this is probably a spider bite, but then they don't do anything about it.
Yes, absolutely.
But to be fair, it's like if you look at the wound or whatever, most are fine.
And if a lot of people like wait, and if they notice that there's more issues cropping up from it, then they see someone about it.
But to be fair, I guess it makes sense because it's like spiders, they're itty bitty and they are eating itty bitty things versus snakes that are eating larger mammals. We're mammals. Yeah. And so it's like, I feel like their venom maybe has a larger impact on us or tends to have larger.
Well, it also works a little differently. It's a different kind of venom, so it can affect you differently. But still, it's a problem. It's a problem, and you should definitely go see someone if you're bitten by a snake. So even if it's a non-venomous one like the boas. When they all forget, or all but Frida, forget the friend, I was sitting there thinking, okay, either they're all in on whatever's going on, or something else is up, and we were proven right with the perfume. I thought, again, that it was going to be the drugs. Love the twist there. But you don't just forget a whole ass person that you've been talking to for days on end. That's not really how it works.
The trauma.
Yeah, it's outside the trauma. You've been talking with this person every day, even outside of the horrible things that have been happening at night. I can understand forgetting her death. I could completely understand that. But to erase her completely from your memory?
Yeah, because they could have done it to where it's like, oh, she went missing. Yeah. Like, maybe she got lost in the island. They can, like, try and search for her.
But no, they just forget a whole ass person.
Yeah.
And the survivor chick recognized the signs, too. She had the lighter that had the friend's name on it.
Yeah.
And was like, oh, Frida's not making this up. Something's wrong.
Yeah.
And she recognized, like, different injuries and things. She's like, there's no way. They said I fell out of a tree when we were, like, drugged and high or whatever.
Yeah, and she's like, I would never
But I would not, like, I didn't survive this many seasons of that show by falling out of a tree. Yeah. Like, this is not how it works. So I'm glad she recognized the signs and went to her as an ally. Snake venom shots. Because why not? Again, this is not how snake venom works, but again, movie's got a movie. And how are you going to get party girls to adjust snake venom otherwise? I love how when they ask, like, this is horrible, what is this? And they're like, snake venom? They just like go with it. Yeah, awesome. Badass. Let's do it. Again, not quite getting how the flowers would cause retrograde amnesia for the night before.
Yeah.
I feel like it doesn't really work that way. And how would they not be triggered? How would the memories not be triggered and resurface when they're seeing the people that are abusing them every day? They're in the place they're being abused.
They're being in the same place. Like, they're re-putting themselves in the, like, environment.
Yeah. Yes. And they're in the same situation every night.
Yeah.
Every night. And on that note, there is assault, obviously. Wouldn't they at some point have come across some evidence of it? Like, feeling some of the evidence of it down there?
Yeah. Like, especially
they don't
like, the
exactly
more traumatic, the better.
Look like they're being gentle about it. They said the more traumatic, the better.
Yeah.
So
It's not like your body's like, yeah, I'm going to
I
go
know
back to...
there's a lot of cases where they don't always know and they don't always feel the evidence of it the next day, but this is happening night after night after night.
Yeah.
And if they're not exactly being gentle, chances are they're feeling something.
Yeah. Sore at the least.
At the least. So, feel like there would be a bit more questioning there. So, but that's just me. I do love, though, how the girls do react fairly differently, but on the whole, I love how the other two, like, party girls immediately switch into all hell no mode.
Yeah. Yeah.
And go off on them. I do like how Survivor Chick and Frida are both sitting there like, okay, now we have some of the evidence, but like, what would we even say? Like, we don't have anything other than, perfume. Like, who's gonna believe that? So they're like, we don't have a body. We say we know we saw it, or they found out later they saw it, but they're like, our friend is missing at this point. We know she's probably dead. We don't know where they put her. We don't have a murder weapon. There's nothing. Like, and there's no one's going to back us up because they don't even remember her.
Yeah.
So they're like logically reasoning everything out, and they're like, okay, what do we do now? And how do we act? And that is hard to do.
Yeah.
So hard to do. So props to that. Not a whole lot of people could pull that off. But... And then when she turns it on him, I don't know how safe it is to vape that stuff, the perfume stuff. I feel like it could have potentially caused a lot more problems than just, oh, it works a lot faster now, and he's just going to immediately forget.
Yeah.
And not know what the hell is going on at all. And basically become 10-second Fred. Props to those who get the reference. But it might have been Ted. I don't know. But I don't think it would have really worked that way. And I'm not exactly sure how she would have taken over as CEO. Like, he would have had to have signed everything over to her.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have just been him. Like, there's a lot of things in place, a lot of people that she would have to go through to be able to be instated as the CEO.
Yeah, like I'm assuming they have a board.
Oh, yeah, board of directors and a whole bunch of other hoops to jump through. Like, that's... I feel like it's not a piece of paper that she could have had him sign. That, oh, you're CEO now. I don't think that's how it works. I feel like there would be lawyers involved and a lot of questioning and all of that. So I don't really see how that would work. It is a nice touch, for sure. I was definitely not expecting that. But I just don't know how that would realistically look.
Yeah. Yep.
Especially just a year later. So... That's what I got, though.
Yep. Yeah, like, overall, like, hopefully, those who are listening watch this movie before,
we always
listening.
hope that.
But, because if not, you got all the spoilers.
Oh, yeah.
And that kind of kills the fun of this movie.
It does.
But, I will say, overall, this is a great movie, and I think it's worth the watch, though proceed with caution.
Yes.
Like we said, there are a couple of trigger warnings. So, yeah, if you're not up to that, then yeah, definitely not worth it. But aside from that, I thought it was interesting movie, lots of twists and turns. horrific, but also revenge filled.
Yes, it's very satisfying toward the end there.
Yeah.
Definitely worth at least one watch.
But
Yes.
thank you for joining us today, and let us know what you thought of the movie. If you'd like to recommend a movie, game, or tea, you can leave us a comment or join our Discord. And if you'd like to keep up to date with our content, you can find our link tree listed below.
And if you'd like to support us monetarily, we have our Teespring or our PayPal, or we have our affiliate link with Republic of Tea available. It does not affect the price of the tea, it just allows us to continue to do what we love. And you can find all of those sites mentioned linked below, but until the next time, guys, stay safe and stay spoopy. Bye!